What's up guys, Tamarakshan here. When we take a look at the iPhone options that we can buy during the mid of 2021, well, there are plenty. Now in that, most of them are not officially sold by Apple anymore, but still some of them, well, we can buy brand new units. And one such example is the iPhone 11 Pro. Right now in Flipkart, it's selling for a price tag of 75,000 Indian rupees for the base variant, and this pricing is actually in the midway of the iPhone 12 mini and the iPhone 12. And therefore users who are looking to buy an iPhone in this price range might be confused between these three. And this video is to help you in that, because this is the detailed review of the iPhone 11 Pro in 2021. Well, the iPhone 11 Pro is still a great phone in plenty of stuff. Now that's what I felt while using it in 2021. The experience is still perfect. Right now there are no flaws when you compare the iPhone 11 Pro with the iPhone 12. In fact, in certain factors, the 11 Pro does better. But then when you buy a phone which has such a huge price tag, you need to look deep in and also take into consideration the future stuff. Because when you spend a hefty price tag, you'll be probably looking to use the phone for at least 3 to 4 years. And that's when a couple of things become a concern with the iPhone 11 Pro while comparing it with its competition. And in that, the main thing is the lack of support for 5G. As of now, 5G is not available in most of the countries, and in India the official rollout hasn't happened yet, but then I feel maybe in a couple of years, 5G will become widespread and probably then it will become a standard. And that's when the iPhone 11 Pro will lose its shine. Because when you compare the iPhone 11 Pro with the iPhone 12 or even the iPhone 12 mini, they both have support for 5G and hence they are more future-proof. And that's the thing the iPhone 11 Pro lacks. Then the second thing in which the iPhone 12 series has the advantage is the extra year of software support and also the upper hand with the performance in the long run. Well, that's because the 12 series has the newest processor, but right now this factor is not a concern with the 11 Pro, because the A13 Bionic chip used in the iPhone 11 Pro right now performs great. It's very fast and the performance from the 11 Pro is just perfect. Everything is smooth and there is no concerns with loading apps, and also the phone doesn't get very warm while using for an extended period of time. And the 4GB RAM available helps with the RAM management, and it's like 6 apps does stay open in memory if they are moderately heavy apps. But then with the storage, there is the usual iPhone issue, which is the base variant just has 64GB storage. But then that's the same with the iPhone 12 and 12 mini, so it's not something to complain when we compare the 11 Pro with the 12 and the 12 mini. And about software support, the iPhone 11 Pro should most probably get updates for at least 3 to 4 years, and in that, there will be an extra more year of support with the 12 series. And with the performance also, it's the same, because in the long run, the 11 Pro will slow down earlier than the 12 series. And that's why I did mention that as a probable concern when you plan to buy the iPhone 11 Pro over the 12 series. But then in that also, when you use a phone for almost 3 years, its battery will need replacement, and mostly at those instances, users tend to upgrade their phone instead of changing the battery. And right now the battery advantage lies with the 11 Pro over the 12 mini and even the 12. The battery size of the 11 Pro is bigger than the 12 mini and 12, and yet this unit which I am using for reviewing has been used for almost a year and 2 months, and with that the battery health has degraded, but still the screen on time I was getting was in the 5.5 to 6 hour range if the usage was in the moderate mode. Well, with heavy usage it will be less, but then with the 12 mini, even if I follow the same usage pattern, the screen on time was much less. And with the 12 mini, I usually need to charge the phone twice a day. Well, that was not needed with the 11 Pro, and I feel with a brand new unit, the battery backup will be better than this. And in that regard, if we compare even with the 12, the iPhone 11 Pro has the upper hand. Then there is another area in the battery where the 11 Pro stands out, and that's with the charging. Now, the charging support is not what I am talking about, but it's the inclusion of a 18-watt charger in box. Well, if Apple was officially selling the 11 Pro, this wouldn't have happened. And in India, especially in Flipkart, it's showing like you'll be getting the charging brick. So that's a plus. And here with the 11 Pro, you also have support for 20-watt fast charging, and even wireless charging support is present. Well, by wireless charging, don't confuse it with MagSafe charging, because that's exclusive to the 12 series. But from my experience, MagSafe charging is not a revolutionary method. Magnetic attachment is a convenience that we get, but other than that, there isn't any big advantage. Phone does get warm, and also the charging speed is not very fast. So it's not something that should give the upper hand for the 12 series over the 11 Pro. And hence from all this, I'll give the battery advantage to the 11 Pro. And another area where the 11 Pro has an advantage when we compare it with other phones in this segment is with the build quality. The 11 Pro is a premium phone. It's using a stainless steel frame with glass on the front and back, and here the back glass has this matte finish. And this unit I'm using, like I said before, is an old one, but still it's in great condition. The frame did pick up scratches, but other than that, there isn't any chip or fading. The portion where the frame and glass joins has no gap, and the phone feels like a tank. The weight of the phone is not on the heavier side because it weighs just 188 grams, and overall, since the form factor is not big, the curved sides isn't a problem, and I feel this design is much more comfortable than the new flat design. Well, I do like the flat sides in the iPhone 12 series, but with the iPhone 11 Pro, its dimension is in a sweet spot such that the curved sides gives a more natural hold. There wasn't any instances where the phone slipped out from my hand, and here I love this form factor and the design of the 11 Pro. Now here the front glass in the 12 series is called ceramic shield, and Apple claims it has better drop protection, but based on my experience, I'll recommend everyone to install a tempered glass on the display, and hence the ceramic shield thing advantage is not something to hype about. And also some of the other things in the build quality department with the 11 Pro is that the buttons still work fine, and the only port, which is the lightning port, has also held up well. But then in the design side from the front, the 11 Pro looks a bit dated because of the notch, but that's a common iPhone thing. So it's like no matter which iPhone you're gonna buy, you need to get used to the notch. Well, that said, the notch houses the Face ID sensors, and with iOS 14.5, if you have an Apple Watch, you can unlock the phone even if you wear a mask. Now, Face ID is surely a very convenient and advanced unlocking method, and if it's used in a proper environment, I still feel Face ID is good. And here about the design, well, I like the design of the 11 Pro, and I think this curved format design, even though it's something we are very familiar with, is still not a bad design. Apple's design language for the iPhones has changed in 2020, and it might be like this in the following years, and from now onwards, the flat side might become a trend. But even then, the design of the 11 Pro is holding well, and to be frank, I still like this curved format design. So overall, I love the build quality of the iPhone 11 Pro, and about the design, I still like it. And similarly, another factor which I like with the iPhone 11 Pro is the display. This display, even in 2021, is a top quality display. It's almost similar to the 12 Pro series, and actually there is a slight advantage over the 12 and the 12 mini's display. And that advantage thing is with the peak brightness level while we view standard contents. It's a minor thing, but still that's something to highlight considering the 11 Pro is an older device than the 12 and the 12 mini. Well, other than that, the display's quality in the 11 Pro is almost identical to the new 12 series lineup. The display size of the 11 Pro is 5.8 inches, and it's a middle ground between the 12 and the 12 mini, and here the resolution is more than Full HD+, and the display does have support for HDR content. Apple has calibrated this display in a proper way, and while we compare this display with the 12 series, well, the 12 series display does look a bit more warm. From the two, the one I prefer is the 11 Pro's tone, but this tone thing is something we will get used to with the phone we use. And here about the display experience from the 11 Pro, well, it's still great. Viewing angles are good, and the colors look sharp and punchy, and also other than the notch, the rest of the bezel is fairly slim. Now, like the 12 series, the 11 Pro doesn't have support for 3D touch, but the software to an extent does cover up that issue. So here about the display in the 11 Pro, I still enjoyed using it. It's a perfect quality panel, and this is a strong point for the 11 Pro in 2021. Well, that said, when it comes to the camera system, well, even though the 11 Pro's camera system is still an awesome one in the segment, well, on comparison with the 12 and 12 mini, there are a couple of things at which the 12 and 12 mini has an upper hand. Now, when I say like this, you might think, well, the 11 Pro has 3 cameras and the 12 and 12 mini just has 2, and also based on the camera specifications, the cameras doesn't look very different. So why am I saying like this? Well, it's because it's not based on the camera numbers and the slight spec difference, but instead it's because of the processing capability. And in that, the main thing is the support to record HDR video with the 12 and the 12 mini. The 11 Pro doesn't have support for such a format video recording, so if you're a person who's deep into video recording with the phone camera, well, that's an area where the 12 series shines. Now, based on my personal experience, I haven't used HDR video recording a lot, and in most of the scenarios, I do prefer to record with HDR off. And hence for me, this advantage thing was not a concern, because the 11 Pro, other than that, does record perfect video. 4K 60fps video recording is supported, and in such a setting, the videos look awesome. It's perfectly stable, and there wasn't any focusing or exposure control issues. The extended dynamic range support in max setting is also a good thing while recording videos. So that's the video recording thing, and when we move to the photo capturing capability, well, with the main camera and the wide-angle camera, in almost most of the situations, there isn't much of a difference. The photos the 11 Pro captures are still impressive with good dynamic range, proper colors, and also sharpness. Well, this thing is applicable to photos taken in good light to moderate lighting, and even in dull lighting environment, the night mode support is a strong plus point. But it's in dull lighting environment, the iPhone 12 and the 12 mini has the slight upper hand, because in such a situation, the 11 Pro's photos look slightly softer. Well, that said, the 11 Pro has an advantage because of the third camera, which is a telephoto one. It's not only because of 2x optical zoom capability, but it's because of the better portrait photos the 11 Pro captures. So that's the back camera situation, and while moving to the front camera, well, the 11 Pro has a 12 megapixel f2.2 aperture camera. This camera is the same one used in the 12 series, but here also the HDR video recording advantage thing is present with the 12 series. But then other than that, if you record in 4K at 60fps, the videos from the front camera is perfect and can be used for vlogs. And about the selfies, it looks good because there is detailing and sharpness, but then the slightly more punchier selfies are the ones from the 12 series. So overall about the camera system in the 11 Pro, what you miss is the processing power and also the slightly better main camera advantage in low lighting. HDR video recording right now is not a massive hit because of the lack of device support, but in future it might change. So with the camera factor, these slight advantages lies with the 12 and the 12 mini over the 11 Pro. And this type of a slight advantage happens with the water resistance too. The iPhone 11 Pro is also IP68 rated, but with the 11 Pro, the support is up to 4 meters for 30 minutes compared to the 6 meters in the 12 series. But then in the speaker department, the 11 Pro's dual speaker was the one I preferred over the 12 because the 11 Pro speaker does output a bit more richer sound. And also the earpiece is loud enough to make the call experience great. And some of the last thing to point out is that the 11 Pro, like the 12 and the 12 mini, does have Bluetooth version 5, Wi-Fi version 6, then there is also UWC support, which is ultra wideband chip, and you even get NFC, which can be used for Apple Pay. So in these sensor stuff, there isn't any change while comparing the 11 Pro with the 12 and the 12 mini. And yeah, from all this, well, you should by now know which one is the more worthy option. If the price tag of the 11 Pro and the 12 is almost same, I'll suggest to get the 12 over the 11 Pro because in the long run, the longevity of the processor is a key highlight, and the support for 5G is something which will make the phone future-proof, and even the camera system's slight advantage is a plus point. Now I've said this before, just don't get the 12 mini unless you're very much into small phones. So if it's like you're confused between the 11 Pro and the 12 mini, then even though the 12 mini has the similar advantages like the 12, well, the battery thing is a very vulnerable factor with the 12 mini, and hence a long-term perspective thing is not something we can consider with the 12 mini. So in that regard, if you value 5G more, then get the iPhone 12 instead of the 11 Pro and the 12 mini. Now these are verdicts based on the consideration that the price tag of these three phones are almost in the same territory. But if it's a scenario in which you're getting the 11 Pro for a better deal, or maybe you're planning to buy a used iPhone 11 Pro in good condition, well then there are advantages. Well, you're getting a premium quality well-built phone which has an excellent display, and the performance is impressive, and also the cameras are flagship level, and all the bells and whistles you expect from a flagship phone is also present, with an exception happening with 5G. So in such a situation, the 11 Pro is still a great deal. But other than that, if it's a brand new device selling in the iPhone 12's price category, surely skip the iPhone 11 Pro and go for the iPhone 12. That's all for this video guys. Hope you liked it. If so, a like is much appreciated, and a sub to the channel will be awesome. See you again in the next one. Till then, bye.